Hello, this is Dom from Tech Advisor, and I'm here with the Motorola One Action, which is the latest smartphone in the new sort of Motorola One range, which covers a few different, each phone has a different focus. Action gives you a little clue as to what this one's about. It's just been announced, like right now, this second. Hopefully the video is going up at the right time. So I'm going to unbox it right now, run through some of the specs and what you guys can expect from this phone if you decide to pick one up. So yeah, this follows on from the Motorola. There was a Motorola One, more recently a Motorola One Vision. I also think there's been a Motorola One Power, though that didn't come to the UK, so I've not seen that one myself. But I think India and some other markets got a One Power. We've also heard rumors of a One Zoom and a One Macro. So it's clear Motorola One is a brand that the company really wants to push going forward. So here we go. Okay. There we have the Motorola One Action with a sticker on the front. As you can see, straight out of the gate, it's got that pinhole camera or punch hole or cutout or whatever you want to call it. So no notch or anything, but you've just got this little camera cutout in the corner. Interesting, it's actually come already in a clear case, so you're going to have to take that off to put your SIM card in. But at least that's a nice encouragement to actually use the case. We'll look at the actual phone itself in a second. We'll just see if there's anything else good inside here. Yep, just the usual sort of manually bits and bobs. SIM tool. Slightly funny shaped SIM tool. Look at that. I quite like that. I've not seen one like that before. The little things you notice when you unbox phones constantly for a living. We have the charger. This is a European one. But obviously you'll get whichever one for the market you buy it in. And then the cable, which is USB-C. So we'll get to the charging port later. I've also been told by Motorola that in some markets there'll be headphones included in the box. I'm not entirely sure which markets get headphones and which don't. And that is a regular headphone jack, as we'll see as we get to it. But yeah, no headphones in this box, but you might get headphones when you buy it. I assume they'll just be cheap little wired in-ear ones anyway, so I wouldn't fuss too much. Okay, so the phone itself, let's get that case off so we can get a proper look at it. If I can get the case off. There we go. I must say, the good mark of a good phone case is that it's quite difficult to get it off the phone, so, this is probably quite a good phone case. There we go. Okay, the Motorola One Action. We have a little guide to the specs there, but I'll run through them as we go with the phone. There we are. And on the back, there we have it. You'll notice straight away, triple camera setup, so we'll go through them. Fingerprint scanner with the Motorola logo embedded, which I always like. Android One is the other thing. So like the rest of the One range, this runs Android One, which if you don't know, basically means you're getting a stock Android experience, but you're also getting guaranteed access to 2 years of security patches. You get some Google Drive storage, some things like that. So there's a few little perks. It also means you're not dealing with any bloatware. You're not dealing with any sort of custom skin on top. So both Motorola and Nokia have both gone quite big on the Android One platform, and we're big fans of it, especially in these budget devices. This color is what they call denim blue. As you see, it's already fingerprinted and smudged quite a lot. It's a very dark blue. I don't even know how well you'll be able to see. There's a slight sort of almost dotted line effect, which I guess is where the denim aspect of the name comes in. It is blue, but in the right light, it does look quite black. The other color option is pearl white, which I actually haven't seen in person, so I don't know quite what the pearl white looks like. But yeah, white or very dark blue, almost black are your two options. Okay, so let's get it turned on and run through setup quickly. There we go again, Android One. And as we see, we've now got a good look at the cutout, which you'll notice is actually quite large. They sort of mask it a little bit with that purple cover we had on, which hides the black edges around the cutout. It is quite a big camera cutout. It's not as small as what you'll see on the Samsung phones or like the Honor View 20 and on the Honor 20 line, which have these very small cutout cameras. This is a bit of a chunky boy. Right, I'm going to dart through setup and then I'll run through what this phone can do. I don't know if we've left that in the video. That was me getting slightly surprised by the familiar Motorola noise as it turns on. Right, so I've now set up the One Action and we'll have a proper run through what this one does. So first things first, let's deal with that name, One Action. So that is because in this triple camera setup, one of the cameras is a dedicated video lens that is designed to compete with action cameras. So if I can get through this and get to the main bit, if we go into video, there's a noise again. Okay, go into video. This is pretty standard. This is using the main camera lens to shoot video right now. That's a 12 megapixel lens. There's also a 5 megapixel depth sensor. So not like top of the line camera, but it should be pretty good. And for video, it'll do you 4K at 30. But I'm hoping this button there, maybe, there we go, puts me in the action cam mode. So we are now using the action camera lens, which is the third lens. It is only used for shooting video. It doesn't do 4K, unlike the other lens. On the action cam, you're capped at full HD, but it does do 60 frames per second full HD. The big thing we'll notice is now, this is shooting landscape, even though I'm holding the phone portrait. So they've just rotated the lens 90 degrees, which is really simple, but it's actually quite a nice idea. A, for an action cam setup, if you are, you know, I don't know, skateboarding or riding a bike or something, and you want to either mount the phone or hold the phone while you're doing something, it's going to be way easier for an extended video to hold it portrait rather than holding it landscape, which is just a little bit more difficult to do. But also I think just for general shooting video, like I'd much rather be shooting video on a landscape footage while holding the phone like that. That seems much better to me. The other thing you'll notice as you look, I know shooting in our office isn't the best way to show off an action cam, but we've got limited options right now. The phone just arrived. It's a wide field of view. It's 117 degrees field of view. So you'll get like a good look around the phone as you're doing it. The funny thing is, because I think this is only used for video, I don't think you can take wide angle photos. Maybe I'll check that as we go through at the end. But yeah, for this video, you get this wide field of view. They've got the same quad pixel technology that was in the Motorola One Vision phone, which was all about its camera that had a 48 megapixel lens for sort of stills. It's the same quad pixel tech, which basically means there's pixel binning going on. But it means in theory it should do nice stuff in low light. There's also some really good electronic stabilization at work. So even though I'm doing that, you know, that's mostly stable. Obviously, that's a weird way to do it. But, you know, if you're shooting something like while you're, you know, I don't know, skiing, skateboarding, biking, running, whatever it is you're trying to shoot action footage, there'll be some stabilization kicking in, which will help. I mean, this is kind of the big selling point. It's an interesting one. For a phone at this price, it's £219 in the UK. Oh, that's gone. Pre-release software, don't hold that against it. Or maybe I just touched something. £219 in the UK, not sure about other markets right now, but it'll be somewhere around that kind of price in euros or dollars. That's a good price to get a nice phone with an action cam built in if you don't have the money to buy a phone and buy a GoPro or something like that. There are big limits though. One, like I said, it doesn't go up to 4K. I mean, not all action cams do either, but it won't compete with a 4K action cam, obviously. The other thing is you're going to have slightly fewer options for mounting, things like that. I mean, you know, you can get a helmet mounted GoPro, but do you really want to be sort of mounting your phone like that on your head while you ski? Probably not. There's also the question of how rugged it is. I mean, this isn't, you can buy like special rugged phones. This isn't really one of them. There's no dust proofing. The waterproofing is only IPX2. So the X means there's no dust proofing. The 2 means it's a 2 on the waterproofing scale. So, you know, if you think other phones are IP67, 68, that's a 7 or 8 on the waterproof scale. This is a 2. So it will handle some drips, but it's not going to handle getting properly wet. It won't survive even like bad rain, at least not in theory. So it's not rugged. It's not really waterproof. I mean, that's where the case is going to come in. You're going to want to make sure to have that case, or I would recommend a sturdier, better case if you really want to use it as an action cam. And that is going to be a bit of a drawback for it in competing properly in that sort of market. Okay, so that's the action cam thing. What I was going to look at, wide angle. Yeah, I don't think there's an option to shoot wide angle photos on here. I think even though there is that wide angle lens, it's not used for stills at all. The rest of the phone is nice. Oh, one thing I wanted to say actually on the rugged question, it's a plastic back, which normally I would say is a bad thing about a phone. Glass, you know, and metal, though metal's gone a bit out of popularity, but you know, they feel a bit fancier, they feel a bit more special. But the plastic is sturdy. Like if you do drop it, that is one thing that'll be better. It's not likely to crackle on the back, even if it might still on the glass front. Rest of the phone, Exynos 9609 processor. So, you know, kind of budgety mid-range chip. It's the same one in the Motorola One Vision, but it'll be fine for most stuff. It's just, you know, this isn't going to be a fast gaming device or anything like that. 4 gigs of RAM in the UK. I'm not sure if that's going to differ anywhere else. 128 gigs of storage. There is UFS, ultra fast storage. So that will mean, sort of in theory, apps open that a little bit quicker and stuff like that, but it should also actually help with the video aspect, making sure that it's actually encoding that video really quickly and saving it in quality really fast. There's also a micro SD slot, so you can expand it up to 512 gig, I think. So if you do want to use it as a camera, there is that scope to have a lot of storage space, though it's only 128 gig out of the box. So that's still pretty good, especially again, at just over £200. You know, that's really not to be sniffed at. Camera performance is nice. Fingerprint scanner on the back. There we go. Like I said, we've got USB-C for charging. It's a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, so that should give you a full day's usage pretty comfortably. I would really expect this to be a 2-day phone, though I haven't tested that myself yet, obviously. And it's got 10 watt fast charging. By no means the fastest fast charging out there, but it should charge up to full in a couple of hours or something like that, which is good. Headphone jack, like I mentioned before. And the screen actually is another really interesting thing about this phone that I forgot to mention, but I mentioned the screen existing just now. So you will notice actually this is quite wide and thin, and in my hand it's, you know, that's a tall phone. This is a 6.3 inch full HD display, but most excitingly, it's in the 21:9 aspect ratio, which is the one that it was sort of basically new to phones this year really. Sony introduced it with the Xperia 1 and the Xperia 10. They're pushing it as this kind of trying to tie into the Sony Cinema brand, the idea that 21:9 is the cinema aspect ratio. So if you want to watch movies on your phone, that'll give you like really the best quality and the best experience and no letterboxing, that kind of thing. With this, in a way, it's a similar push. It's about the fact that the action cam shoots in 21:9 widescreen. That's, you know, because it's the wide angle lens. So it's basically designed to be the perfect screen for playing back that action cam footage that you shoot. But more than that, I'm a big fan. You know, it's one of my favorite things about those Sony phones is the aspect ratio. It means you can have a really tall display, but it's not uncomfortably wide. You can still sort of stretch across the phone like that with your thumb pretty nicely. And I think it looks nice, that tall, sort of thin, not squat and boxy. And yeah, like it does mean it's going to stand out. Other than those two Sony phones, well, there are two 10 models, so 3 Sony phones. There aren't any other phones that I'm aware of out there that have the 21:9 ratio yet. I'm curious to see if this is part of a trend of more people adopting it. People are going to follow in Sony's footsteps and have 21:9 across the board soon. I'd be on board with that. I like it. So yeah, I mean, that's about all there is to say. It's not the most, oh my God, exciting phone release of the year, but if you're looking to spend a couple £100, couple $100 on a phone, and you want something that stands out a little bit more than Motorola's own, like G7 range or something like that, I think the One Action is a really good bet. It's going to be, you know, even if you don't care about the action cam thing, I think this is a really solid phone for what you're getting. But you might be more interested in the One Vision, which has very similar specs, but the camera is more optimized for just great stills and great normal photography. Whereas this is obviously more optimized from a video standpoint and the action cam standpoint. How much that will appeal to people who are proper action cam nuts, you probably don't really need your phone to do it. But maybe you just want a phone that will deliver that on the days when you don't have your GoPro with you or something like that. And really no one else is doing that. Not many other phones in the 21:9 ratio except those Sonys, and you may or may not like them for other reasons. And at £219, like, there's not a lot to complain about. So yeah, this is the One Action. It's available from now, I think, basically most markets, certainly the UK from right now. I think most markets it should be there in the stores. You can go buy one right now. Yeah, like and subscribe if you've been a fan, and keep an eye on the channel for more stuff. Thanks very much.